Hi everybody, Jeff Simon here at AirVenture 2025. I'm here with JJ Frigge. How are you doing, JJ?
I'm doing great, Jeff.
Listen, you guys always have incredible stuff going on. There's more news than I can keep up with that keeps coming out of Hartzell. How's your show going so far?
It's been a really great, busy week. We have tons of new product. We're seeing lots of customers in our booth. We're also hosting training sessions here with our sister companies, talking about prop care and feeding, talking about things with all the engine accessories, Cleveland wheel and brakes. So we're part of Signia Aerospace now, and it's a great opportunity to combine and bring to the GA community all of these great products and services that we provide together.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things I've noticed is that you're on this one basically square block of AirVenture with everything that goes inside an engine, and whether it's pre and outside, preheat, exhaust, the components, etc., all on the engine side, and then of course the prop side, which is really, really amazing. And I mean, you guys are just moving fast.
We are, and again, coming back and talking with customers and educating them through our training sessions every morning, kind of 9 a.m. to around lunchtime, and having these different topics we can talk about every day has really been a great way to engage all of our customer bases. Again, whether it's Cleveland Wheel and Brake, or Hartzell Engine Tech, or Hartzell Aerospace Welding, or Hartzell Propeller, of course.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun.
It's amazing, and I do want to talk about maintenance and technology a little bit, because of course that's what I love, right? That's where I go to, and I love your sessions and everything that you're teaching. But right behind us here is a very, very cool example of this. You're really carbon fiber. I mean, I know you call them composites in many ways, but carbon fiber is what I think of when I think of your propellers. And the idea that in the past, up until this point, anyone who bought a brand new propeller throughout kind of history was slowly being eroded away or getting damaged. And at some point you were going to say goodbye to those blades.
That's right.
And now we've got this process which you are training people on and explaining on these different blades behind me how to restore, like an additive process. That seems revolutionary to me.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of the prime benefits of the carbon fiber, as you mentioned. So we can go from a gouge in the blade or a debond on the lead edge, as we have examples here, and then we actually are training folks on how to do these minor repairs themselves, or through a prop shop or service center. So as you said, it's an additive process. We can actually restore material back onto the blade, whether that's epoxy or in some cases some nickel mesh, and then sand down to the factory dimension and restore that blade to just like it was when it came out of Hartzell Propeller.
I mean, that's amazing to me, because it's an investment that then really isn't life limited.
Exactly, and that's another key advantage of carbon fiber is you're restoring the blades to factory dimensions, and you're never going to go scrap for being undersized, and that blade is going to be just as good of a performer on flight hour 10,000 as it was on flight hour 1. So that's a huge benefit, and it really adds to the value of the product over the life cycle, because you don't have to worry about those blades going scrap.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fascinating. I know you're training both owners and mechanics, and one of the cool things about that is with limited prop shops, with what's involved in going in when you do have to go in for overhaul, of course, but when it's going to be repairs, we're talking field repairs for things that when I look at where it starts, when you have an example blade and it looks like someone hammered the trailing edge, or there's really what I consider to be more significant damage, and yet this process takes you through what your average A&P when trained can do to restore a blade.
Yeah, and on top of that, you're starting with a very rugged blade already, right? You're laying up dozens and dozens of layers of carbon fiber over a very structurally sound core, and you're creating a blade that's, again, very durable, very strong right out of the gate, and then you're able to do these repairs along the way. So yeah, we think it's super important, not only for the benefits of the serviceability and the repairability, but obviously the materials we use make a big difference with performance and being able to design thinner airfoils and wider cords.
Right. Well, let's talk about that design for a minute there, because the word composite has so many meanings, and at its basic level, it just means more than one material, right?
Correct.
And so it gets thrown around a lot, and I don't think a lot of people realize that some of the other quote composite propellers that are out there are really essentially wood. that are then have protective coatings on the outside and things like that. And this is an example. I love that you have these that people can see, that this is an example of another blade, and ultimately it is wood on the inside. But at the same time, the blades that you've got here, the Hartzell composite, is this, which is it's a carbon fiber blade. I mean, that's how I think of it.
Yeah, it is, and the key difference here is really simple. So when you think about the Hartzell blade, you see the rigid, dense foam core in the middle. That's the lighter color. But what you see is this main spar area of black, and that is, you know, a 1/4 inch, almost a 1/2 inch thick, and that is the carbon fiber layers laid up over that foam core that are then resin injected. And the structural integrity of the blade is not in the foam, it's in the carbon layers themselves, and we call that the main spar. So that's really the key difference between our carbon fiber structural composite blade and the wood core, because with the wood core, that is the structural integrity.
Yeah,
that
wood.
Is
you've just got this thin coating.
Right. So there's no structural integrity in the outer layer for moisture protection. It's the wood that's carrying the loads, and with ours, you're really getting that carbon fiber main spar there carrying the structural integrity of the blade.
Wow, and I want to emphasize, having this in my hands right now, that what you're calling foam here, I know that's, I'm sure, the technical term from an engineering perspective, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard as a rock for me.
We should come up with another name for it. It's not something that you can stick your thumb in or even gouge with your fingernail.
You're not making a cooler out of it.
It's like a rock.
Yeah. Right. And the other thing that's really interesting about this, that is cool, but that you can see in the cutaway, is two things. The first is the nickel leading edge, and it's a bit deceiving because when you look at it this way, or you look at any of the props that are actually out there, you just see a small portion of it. But when you see the cutaway, it's actually extending quite a bit further. And then you've got metal, which I understand is the mesh.
Yeah, that's right. You can actually see it much better back here on these blades. You can see how wide this leading edge is, and we're only leaving about a 1/2 inch unpainted, and then we're painting the rest black. But you can see that's over an inch and a half of width on that leading edge, and then underneath there is what we call a mesh erosion screen, which is a very tightly woven nickel that gives it extra protection above the carbon layers underneath.
Right, and for comparison, of course, with aluminum blades, that's what just keeps getting beat up over time with little tiny sand pieces or grit. Like, you just can't stop that from eating the life of your blade away.
Exactly. Can I tell a quick story?
Of course.
Okay,
you kidding me?
So we were working with an operator, and we wanted to do some testing, and we did a ballistic test in-house where we shot our carbon fiber blade with a pellet gun, and then we shot the wood core blade with a pellet gun. And on our blade, we saw a chip in the paint, the outer layer, into the primer that was about the size of a dime, and the pellet deflected and went away. And then on the wood core, it actually impregnated about halfway through into the wood core, and when we
and the blade's gone.
Yeah. So it was a cool test, and something we should probably show more often.
Or call me next time.
Yeah,
I want to shoot a pellet gun into a blade of a running.
We had plenty of volunteers. We had plenty of volunteers for that. So
sure, that sounds like a fun day at the office. So I'm on board for that one. The one last thing which I saw on your display that was really impactful to me, because as a since only prop shops get to work on props, even shops, even mechanic shops, don't actually get to see the ferrule part of the blade and a lot of it that goes inside the hub. And what was interesting to me is looking at the differences. This model, which is yours, is really kind of follows the theme you just said. That spar and that kind of carbon fiber is spread out here, and you can see from that. And really molded directly into the ferrule on this. So it's really straightforward. And then I want to kind of compare. Go ahead.
If I could just highlight, the key piece of this is obviously this is the retention tube where we can put lead in to balance the blade, not a structural piece here. But what we have here is then this wedge shank. So you see the black going down into these wedges. This is a key feature of the design. It really prevents this blade from ever separating from the shank, because just obviously based on physics and geometry, we're creating this wedge which locks in the carbon fiber all the way down at the root of the blade.
Yeah, you simply can't get that material out, and so the concept of throwing a blade while the ferrule's retained just doesn't seem possible.
Correct. We've got it wedged in with this stainless steel shank, which is again another key feature, using stainless steel for that rugged durability.
Wow. So I want to compare that against some I'd never seen before, and just understand, again, this is just, I've never seen this. On the outside, obviously, you're looking at what is still called a composite blade, but on the inside, these are bolts. I didn't realize. You're never going to see it because it's inside the hub,
right?
But it's actually put in, bolted with wood, different types of wood, and it appears, just like you said, you have to rely on bolts. You can't mold, like you said, make it physically impossible.
Sure. So again, you have the balance tube here, just like we have, and then you've got the aluminum shank around the blade root, and then the bolts, which are tapped holes, and then fastened into the shank all the way around the perimeter.
I had just never seen that before, so I definitely want to pull that out, because that is interesting. I had no idea that you just have a row of bolts in there, and I've never heard of tapping wood, but hey, there you go. Whatever works. So you have tons of announcements. I want to turn to that for a minute.
Yeah.
All sorts of new props coming out for new aircraft. Tell me what's going on.
Right. So just here at Oshkosh, we got a ton of aircraft on display with our new products since last year. So right after Oshkosh last year, Wipaire completed their STC on the Yukon prop, which is a 4-blade carbon fiber on the front of the Caravan. It's incredible performance. So obviously Wipaire is deeply invested in the float community, and they really wanted a prop with low-end performance to get up on the step and out of the water. And this prop gets off the water 25% faster than any other prop out there. So it's just, you don't see that type of performance increases very often. And the cool thing is it doesn't decrease the cruise speed. So you're able to keep parity cruise speed and get off the step and off the water a heck of a lot faster. It also works great on the land planes. They did a bunch of testing on the geared version as well, and same type of 20-25% performance increase on the takeoff roll. So that's really exciting. It's on display right out here at the Wipaire booth.
That's huge, and we do a lot of work with Wipaire. I've seen the videos, and when you see side by side taking off, it's not one of these, there's what, dozens, maybe 100 vendors here that are like, you get a 3% increase, you get a 2% increase. Get an extra knot with this.
Exactly.
25% is not something you shy away from.
No, it's incredible. So we're really excited about that, and we've seen really strong uptake in the market over the past 10, 12 months. So it's been a lot of fun working with Wipaire and helping them bring that to market.
And what is also exciting to me with all these announcements that you have coming out is it pretty much spans the entire breadth of aviation, because you go from something like an enormous Caravan on floats all the way down to backcountry announcements of props for backcountry planes, like everything. So what else is going on?
Well, let me stick with the big guys. If there's any other turbine guys out there that like to fly King Airs, we've been working with Blackhawk, another well-known modifier and well-respected company in the industry, and they are STCing our 5-blade carbon fiber onto the King Air 350 with the engine upgrade program that they've been doing for about 6 or 8 years now. So we're excited to be a choice on that platform. They've had really strong conversions over that time period, and our props now are adding 5 to 8 knots more in cruise speed. So again, a huge delta versus what they originally STC'd with, and now this thing is really going to be like a rocket ship. So
that's awesome.
Think of 337 knots true in a King Air 360 or 350. So pretty exciting stuff that Blackhawk is on the verge of doing. They got all their paperwork in, and the STC's coming soon.
That's awesome.
Now we'll go to the lighter side. So in our booth this week, our display here, booth 289, we've got a really cool Hartzell wrapped Aviat Husky, and it's got a 3-blade Pathfinder on it, which was an STC that we did earlier this spring. And it's a 3-blade carbon fiber. Once again, it's a nice complement to the 2-blade Trailblazer that we already have on the Husky. So it gives customers options. Some people really like the look of the 3-blade. Some people want to go with the 2-blade for simplicity. Performance-wise is very similar between the two, but again, aesthetics mattered, right? And so, some people like the 3 blades, and we've got a great option now with the Husky.
I'm not going to lie, right? I mean, one of the big things, these composite props are sexy. classy.
Yeah,
I mean, they are.
I know,
they have
right?
a look to them. I once
Yeah.
asked you, I was like, I know there's a ton of engineering behind it, but at the end of the day, someone's got to look at it and say, like, does it look good?
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Because
Yeah.
if someone came out with an incredibly efficient prop that looked
Yeah.
absolutely terrible with little lollipops on the end, no one would
Yeah.
want it.
They'd have limited market opportunity for sure. So also in our booth we have the new, a friend of ours, JC Carroll. We have his 185, which is a fantastic looking airplane, and it's got the new carbon Voyager on it. So we launched our metal Voyager about 5 years ago, and it's by far the best performer for the 180, 182, 185, 206 series of Cessna airplanes with either 520 engines or the 550 conversions, or in some cases we're approved on some 470s. So it's a great prop. It's the best performer that's out there versus any 2-blade or any other 3-blade, whether that's metal or wood core or whatever. This metal Voyager was top notch, and the carbon Voyager is now there to complement it for folks that want to save 20 pounds.
That's great.
And have a very, very smooth ride in the backcountry.
Excellent.
So that's in our booth. And then the really, really cool thing, two more cool things I'll tell you about. One is the Carbon Cub UL, so the Rotax powered airplane by Cub Crafters. We now have a 3-blade, what we call Falcon Series propeller. It's a brand new retention series for us. It packages 3 carbon fiber blades in a small hub that's still fully actuating through the different pitch cycles, and is packaged into a 20-pound end product. So
wow.
It's about 10 or 11 pounds lighter than what the prop they were using with Cub Crafter.
That's a huge deal.
And according to the Cub Crafter team, it's by far the best performer. So we're excited because it's taken us a while, but we've really been investing in a prop retention series that is hits the needs for the Rotax engine. And this blade was type designed for the Carbon Cub UL, but the overall retention series is really geared towards that Rotax market of 916 engines and 915, and working our way down even to the 912s.
Wow.
So we're thrilled to have one of those Carbon Cub ULs in our booth. It's a pretty orange airplane. And then there's another one actually over at the Rotax booth this week that they have on display, the Carbon Cub UL with the 3-blade Kestrel, we call it, is our new name for that. So I'll leave you with one more. Just last Friday, we were awarded by the FAA our first ever Part 35 type certificate for an AAM vehicle. So we've been working with Beta Technologies for the past 4 years, done extensive design and prove-out work with them in Vermont, and did thousands of hours of engine testing with their electric motors, and custom designed a 5-blade fixed pitch ground adjustable propeller system to bolt onto the back of the Beta Alea, the conventional takeoff version, which has flown here at Oshkosh a couple times.
Yeah, I saw that
this week, and it's a freaking fantastic airplane. And you wouldn't hear it, but if you saw it, you'd really be impressed. So we're really excited to bring the first ever type certificated propeller to the AAM space, and to partner with Beta, who we think has a great business opportunity and just fantastic people, is something that we're super excited about. So it's on display at their booth, and then it's flying again in the show tomorrow, I hear. So
it must be
cool.
Pretty wild to see your propellers on advanced air mobility aircraft. I mean, like, that's just a whole new level. It's a whole new space.
For sure. I mean, we think it's a big opportunity. Obviously, the industry on the AAM side has condensed from a couple hundred different potential aircraft and manufacturers down to maybe 6 or 10 or 12.
Right.
But Beta's one we've been working with a long time, and we love their concept, we love the vehicle, and it's great people, and we're happy to be working with them, as well as a couple others that are still in the development phase. So deeply investing, and that's kind of the theme for me, is that we're continuing to invest in our technologies and our product development. We're investing in our facilities back home in Ohio. We're just in the late stages of opening up our new composite production facility, which is going to essentially triple our capacity for composite blade manufacturing, investing in a very strong service network for propeller maintenance and repair and overhaul. We've acquired a couple shops across the US and Canada, and we're in the process of building out sort of a good geographic network of directly owned shops so that customers ultimately win with better quality, with shorter lead times, and really great product choices.
I think that's fantastic. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of it. I fly behind a Hartzell Propeller, so I mean, it's great stuff, and in the future we're going to have a whole bunch of videos with our Mustang build because it's going to be a Hartzell propeller that goes on there as well. And so you pretty much cover everything when you think about going all the way to Black Hawk conversions, caravans, you know, backcountry with carbon cubs, and even replica Mustangs. Go
absolutely.
figure.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, well, thanks for everything that you do and taking time to talk to us about that. And again, if anyone's interested, go on the Hartzell website. You can see everything across the entire spectrum, whether it's their engine technology side, the propeller side, learn really what's going on, and get better educated for your next decision. Because when it comes to investing in your aircraft, I think what you can do at the very tip of the spear there can really impact your flying and safety. And I certainly know I stand behind this, and I love the fact that you've got an investment that can just go into the future just based on its based on the technology itself.
Yeah, yeah. We're here this week at Osh, and we're also standing by, you know, back home to help folks pick the right propeller and see how we can help.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, for AirVenture 2025, I'm Jeff Simon for SocialFlight. Blue skies.